Well, Pep, you said before the game Southampton are always tough, and they were for a bit. How, in the end, did you figure it out?
It was the first half. They were incredible, well organized. So they played really, really well. We started with good 2 actions. We're a little bit sloppy. We didn't find the third man properly. We were fortunate to score on the edge of the first half, and in the beginning the second, and after was much better. Second half much better because they have to jump more. But they keep fighting, and it was a good opponent for us.
Were you just a bit frustrated with the build-up from the back early in the game, and just watching you sort of speak to your centre-halves? Maybe, I don't know, it was a bit slow?
Yeah, a little bit, but they did really well. As a team, they organized, they allowed us to play on our right side, and it was not easy. It was not easy. Sometimes it's give credit to the opponent, not just for if we were sloppy or maybe would not. I give credit when the opponents do the good things. I have to respect them. So, and sometimes it happened. We were like a little bit of the aggressivity, so the duels we were a little bit comfortable. And the second half we increased in that too.
So the first goal comes from Kevin De Bruyne's 100th Premier League assist, fastest player to get there. Go on.
Kevin is playing in that level. So the amount of and how many assets has done that is not already counting because we could not score. So it was involved in the penalty and the assists and many things.
I know it feels like we ask you this question a lot, but you've been right at the top of the game for your whole career, player and a manager. In terms of vision and execution, where is he, Kevin? How good?
No, he's exceptional. So when he's always is committed. He's a guy who likes to play football, but he needs the rhythm. He has to play. There are players that need to play at 40%, 50%. He's a guy who needs to play every action, make a high level, high intensity, 80-90%. He's not comfortable to play with a post. He needs to, to make this speed. And after, I had the feeling when it's so difficult to find. When one player has this 80-90% intensity, has the ability to see the passes, more than who is more calm or more 30-40% or more walking. Normally, the normal players, when you walk, you see everything. But when you run at high speed, you are not able to see what happened. He's completely the opposite. That's why he's an exceptional player.
Talking of exceptional players, Erling Haaland, 30 Premier League goals now, 44, with like a quarter of the season still to go.
Yeah, so I think our bosses bought him for this type of games. Like he's uncomfortable, like we are not playing our best level, the opponent is really good. He breaks, so with a good assist of course, but the goal, and after the second goal is always, you cannot imagine with this 1.90 m, I don't know, had the ability.
It makes them look so easy, doesn't it? Maybe because he's massive.
It looks easy, it's so flexible, so yeah, it was exceptional goal.
It's interesting, Pep Guardiola. Towards Arsenal, they still play them on the 26th of April. 5 points is the difference, and we can speak to Manchester City star midfielder Kevin De Bruyne now, who joins us live. Kevin, thanks so much for speaking to us. We've got another City legend, Shaun Wright Phillips, in the studio with us, and Glenn Murray's here as well. Look, you guys know you've pretty much got to win every game. How important was that 3 points down there?
Good evening. I think it's always important. I think the first half an hour was tough. I think the last 15 minutes of first half we started to create more chances, and it was good that we scored that goal. And I think the second half we played really well. I think we created enough chances. We put them under pressure. The goal against was a little bit soft on our side, but I think in the end we deserved to win, and we did our job.
Kevin, it's Shaun here. Congratulations on the 100 assists.
Thank you.
What did Pep say at half-time? Because I feel like in the second half, you was in better spaces. You was getting the ball with more time to do your thing, basically.
He didn't say too much. He just explained a little bit more the shape of Southampton. It was a little bit different than expected. I think it was basically like a 4-3-3, but like side shape. So the right side was free up front, and then the middle was on the left. So it's really difficult to see the spaces. But I think we had to go a little bit quicker forward, because then they didn't have the the time to set up the pressure with their fullbacks or defenders pressing us in the midfield. And once we can turn around and play 5 against 4, it's going to be tough for them.
Hey Kevin, congratulations on 100 assists, like Shaun just said. I was just wondering, obviously Giggs is on 162, Fabregas is second on 111. I think it's pretty inevitable you're gonna go second at some point in the near future, but can you catch Giggs at the top?
Well, that's a lot, I've been here for 8 years. I don't know. It depends how long I stay, how long I'm in good shape, and how long we do really well. I try to create as much as possible, and if my teammates score, then it helps me. It's a combination of both. So I try to do as much as possible, and I need my teammates to put it in the back of the net.
Kevin, just finally, look, it's such an exciting finish to the season. You guys have got a massive game on Tuesday night against Bayern Munich, and then, of course, you go away to Germany. You've got that FA Cup semi-final against Sheffield United. And in the run-in in the Premier League, obviously, we're all looking at that match on the 26th against Arsenal. But when you go into that Manchester City dressing room and you look at your teammates and you look in their eyes, how much belief is in that City camp that you can do it?
Well, we know we are behind, but we can only control what we can control, and we know we got a lot of games to play and a lot of important competitions. But if you are in the beginning of the season, this is what you want, and tough periods are ahead, and every game is a must-win. But we've been in this situation before, and we have to focus ourselves on choosing against Bayern, and that's the only thing we can really do. So, but the belief is there.
Kevin, top man, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Safe journey back to Manchester.
Thank you. Good evening.
There we go. Kevin De Bruyne speaking to us live on Matchday Live. I mean, look, Shaun, he's timeless in this Manchester City team, isn't he? He just keeps coming up with assists.
Yeah, and I think me and Glenn spoke about it off air when we was just watching the game, and Glenn hit the nail on the head when he said he just risks the ball. Not all the time, but just seems to be at the right times, and more times than none, he gives the attacker or the midfielder an opportunity to score a goal or to maybe grab an assist. And I think if you have a play like that and you have a striker like Haaland up front, I think that the combination will work perfectly. And we forget they're only in their first year together. I can't wait to see what they're like when they actually get on and they have spent enough time together to know, right, bang, this is exactly how I want it. Because Kevin's the man that can deliver that.
Yeah, and look, City are so effective when that combination works between Kevin De Bruyne and Haaland. Do you expect to kind of see it more with those two so talented? And is it a case of, like Shaun says, that you give it another season and it becomes almost telepathic?
Yeah, well, I think it's sort of reaching that now already, isn't it? I mean, Kevin De Bruyne can be telepathic with whoever he wants to be, but Haaland's just his perfect foil, always making that direct forward run, always in between the sticks, so he knows when he's got to put the ball in the box. I mean, they just complement each other so well, and yeah, I can only see it getting better. And when it's working, why not keep pressing that button?
Yeah, let's rewind then to 1-0 and Erling Haaland's first goal. And it was obviously KDB's 100th assist in the Premier League, as we just talked to him about there. Initially, the ball in from Kevin De Bruyne, but it comes out to him here. Good vision from Grealish to find him. Yeah,
but Jack holds on to it just enough to so Kevin can get on side, and he just floats it in there. And the man, like I said, Haaland, he's run. If you see his movement, the way as soon as Kevin gets the ball, he just peels off. He knows it's coming. And then from that, it's a goal, pretty much then. And it's a great header from the man. He couldn't do anything else. He headers it straight. I think Bazuma got caught in two minds because he came out and then he stopped. And from he does that, I think he's in no man's land, really.
Yeah, and just fast forwarding to Erling Haaland's second goal of the evening at Southampton. And actually, Glenn, 27 games to get to 30 Premier League goals is the quickest now, because the previous was Andy Cole, who took 32 matches. He's setting records left, right and centre, this guy. Yeah,
and I only expect him to keep breaking them. But this is all started by Kevin De Bruyne again, onto the informed Jack Grealish, and then we just see him peel away. He always likes to see the goal and the ball and have everything in his vision. But then to be able to do this, for such a big man to have the athleticism to get up and hit that with his left foot back across, hit the target. I mean, he's special. That is the only words I've got for him. Just when it comes to the 18-yard box and 6-yard box, he's killer. Yeah, go on then. As a former striker, what impresses you the most when you watch him? Because it has to be said that there are times when he probably deliberately doesn't get involved too much in the play. My biggest thing for him is his hunger. I mean, when you've scored 30 goals, it can almost become boring. Do you know what I mean? He's proved everyone wrong, and he's breaking records, like you say, but his hunger and his age just wants to keep scoring goals. Like, we've seen Wayne Rooney burst onto the scene when he was a young lad. He was an out-and-out goal scorer, but he changed the way he played. Haaland loves scoring goals, and he's going to do it for a long time to come.
It's almost a dream, isn't it, Shaun, for Pep? Because he had 12 touches today and he scores 2 goals. He scored more than that. I think he scored hat-tricks with fewer touches this season, but not getting involved too much, not getting involved in tackles and challenges that he doesn't need to, and winning games for City.
Yeah, but if you heard one of his previous interviews, Haaland himself, he said he'll be happy in a 90-minute game to touch the ball 5 times and score 5 goals. Now, that's just telling you, as a team player, just give me the ball in the box. He just wants to score goals. And I think for a team like City to have that part of the puzzle in that Arsenal as well, I think it's fabulous. Because before, like the years before, I would say after Sane until now, they kind of lost that direct way out. And I think now Haaland's brought that back, whereas they can play and keep the ball as long as they want, but as soon as you come towards us, Haaland goes the other way, and then they have that pass. So a lot of teams, I feel like, get stuck in 2 minds. They don't know whether to press or to sit deep. So now, for me, City have the best of both worlds, and they're punishing teams, as we saw the game without Haaland, where they punished the team. And now we've just seen a game with Haaland, and they've done the same thing, but in a different manner, in a different way.
I just want to pick up on the point you made there of him. What was it? He has 5 touches, scores 2 goals or 3 goals. That is a proper striker's mentality. It's like, guys, you bake the cake and I'll just stick the cherry on top at the end. That is it.
He said it himself, though, Glenn.
Yeah.
He says, I don't really want to touch the ball much.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
But that is one area I think he could improve as he gets older. The ball's up to him. He just being a little bit cleaner and tidier with his link-up play. But when you score goals like that, how can you criticise somebody? Yeah,
it's a warning sign, isn't it, to Arsenal, because Manchester City are putting a run together. 8 wins on the spin in all competition. Let's hear from the City boss, Pep Guardiola. So Manchester City leading at St Mary's thanks to a goal from Erling Haaland right before the half-time whistle. Glenn Murray, Shaun Wright Phillips in the studio with me. No surprise, Glenn, for the goal scorer.
No, it's not. I mean, he wasn't heavily involved in the first half at all. We were chatted, didn't we? And we said he didn't look at his sharpest, but do you know what? It only takes a second. He had a sighter just before this, and Grealish just really well to let De Bruyne just toddle back on side, and then this ball here just lifts it into an area where Haaland can attack it, and when he meets it 6 yards out, the goalkeeper Bazuna gets caught between a rock and hard place. He's in a catch-22 position. He puts the brakes on, and Haaland with a deft touch in the end just fills it past him, and all of a sudden the game's changed.
Shaun, 29 Premier League goals for Erling Haaland. We were talking while we were watching that first half, saying he wasn't moving particularly freely, was he? Because he's been out for a little bit, and obviously we're looking at the Bayern game as well. But he's been ineffective in matches before and come up with the goods.
Well, that's why he's at City. I think they brought him there to score goals. They have the provider, which is KDB, amongst other players as well. And when you put a ball in a box like that with somebody that big, that powerful, that hungry to score goals, that's the end product of what you get. But like you said, he was moving a bit gingerly, but this is why this game's there, not as a warm-up for Bayern, but to get the rust out of him so he's match ready to go, to get his sharpness back in.
Yeah.
And his movement for the goal, I thought, was fantastic. As soon as Kevin gets on the ball, you see him peel away to the back stick so he can attack the ball.
Yeah, 29 goals, of course, which is 6 more than Southampton have scored all season in the Premier League. And no surprise from the guy that assisted him as well, Kevin De Bruyne, 100 Premier League assists, Glenn, which is incredible. And he's in fantastic company, only the 5th player to do that in the Premier League, and the 7th assist for Haaland this season.
I mean, he will really be looking to at least go second by the time he finishes, won't he? In that list there, when you see there's only 12 to go above Fabregas, so he's the only one still playing. You'd expect him to definitely go second. Whether he can quite catch gigs, I'm not sure. What do you think?
That's a hard ask.
It's a big ask.
Striker's view on the Haaland chance, the header before the goal?
I would probably expect him to do better with what we've seen this season. Again, I mean, it's De Bruyne. De Bruyne actually plays this ball to Grealish, makes the overlap and run from the halfway line. Bit lucky how it gets there, but once he gets up over and above the defender, I think it's Ward-Prowse covering back, you fancy him to hit the target and probably do better here, because he's always physically going to dominate the person in front of him. Once he gets first contact here, I'm thinking the net's going to ripple. But just gets his angle slightly wrong, gets good purchase on it, just puts it wide of the post, and that was just a sighter for what was to come.
And look, Southampton have had a couple of sighters. Sulemana, half chances, but one of those SWP puts in the bottom right corner, doesn't he?
I wouldn't go that far. It's not my swinger. No,
What you were saying to us during the first half, was it?
no,
The cameras come on.
I just think, in honesty, like he's tried 3 times to go on his right. He's let Ake predict that and guide that whole situation. So for me, from Ake, it was fantastic defending. But I think if he shows more threat that he's going to go to his left foot, which he does eventually, but the bad touch at the end takes him away, it opens up for him. But he's been a thorn in City's side. I think all the first half, he's getting in behind, playing on the lines. And here, I can see exactly what he's trying to do. He just sets it too wide. He gets caught, it seems like he gets caught in between, trying to cross it, which he wouldn't do with that foot from there, or trying to whip it back sick, and he gets it all wrong, sadly, for him.
Yeah, and look, we were saying as well that they'd forced City back quite well before the goal.
Yeah, I think the tactics, Southampton's tactics and Ruben Sellers had set them up quite well. They were forcing them in the field to the inverted wings and just blocking that space up and frustrating City. And for a little bit there, City they weren't quite sure what to do. But when you've got Haaland, it only takes a moment. And when you miss chances like that, Southampton, you're not going to get many chances in a game like this against Manchester City's superiority. You've got to make amends with them. You've got to ask questions of the goal.
Position maintenant. Alors que se passe-t-il? Le buteur Hakim Ziyech est resté au sol.